You're too late, Batman! I've already given every household in Gotham a subscription to Sports Illustrated. Hey there, boys, girls, ghouls, and goblins. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about collecting cards. Collections, collection goals, reasonable collections, and of course the kind of things you want to avoid as you're trying to build up a collection, whether it is a group of cards, a set, a specific artist. There's all kinds of collections, honestly, in the cardboard world, and there are just as many, if not infinitely more, kinds of collection goals. And in this video, I want to briefly, and by briefly I mean probably another 10-minute ramble, I want to briefly go over some things you can do to make your collection life just a bit easier. This isn't a top 5 tips video. This isn't a 3 things you gotta know in order to get your collection going. This is just me talking briefly about just some things to keep in mind when you're starting or even going through your collection journey. And the thing is, there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to the world of collecting, and some things you'll have to think about and some things you won't have to think about, based entirely on who you are, what your budget is, what your interests are, etc. Because for different people, there are different kinds of challenges to a collection. So, you know, somebody like me, who has a very small budget and very, let's call them low-hanging collection goals. Someone like me trying to fill out a collection of, let's pick Light of Destruction because it's my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh set. Someone like me trying to fill out a Light of Destruction collection, the biggest hassle I'm going to face for that collection is just having the money and having the patience to get all the cards shipped to me, right? And then, you know, making sure they're all in the nice condition and making sure they all look nice in the binder, all that jazz, right? At the end of the day, the biggest challenge to me is just making sure I have the money for the collection. But, you know, someone who's lives in an entirely different ecosystem than I would, an entirely different tax bracket, who wants to collect, let's say, Shonen Jump Championship prize cards, they have a whole different set of problems. For them, the problem isn't the budget, because if they're hunting prize cards, then they have the money, right? No, their problem is finding someone who A, has the prize cards, and is B, willing to sell them. So as you can see, there's different kinds of hurdles that one could have to pass over in order to fill out a collection, right? And I understand that those are very different kinds of hurdles, but keep in mind there's a whole spectrum of things that can get in your way. Your budget, the availability of what you're trying to hunt, the condition of what you're trying to hunt, because some things are pretty old. Like, there's a lot of comics that are really desirable, but they're so old that getting a decent copy for your collection at an affordable price is basically impossible, you know? Just keep in mind that when you're trying to fill out your collection, you should really examine not just what you're trying to get, but your own personal position when you're starting out, or how you foresee your position going. You know, if you have a well-paying job, all your bills are covered, you don't have anything that you're worrying about in terms of extra finances and such, and you only have a few extra dollars at the end of the day, that's good. As long as all those bills are being paid, you can use that extra money to get a nice, modest collection. And it doesn't have to be something, you know, super janky. You can put $50 a month into 1 or 2 cards that you think are just really nice, right? And over time, that $50 once a month collection will grow into something really substantial. But you have to remember to keep that budget in mind at all times. Never let your eyes decide for your brain, so to speak, when it comes to what you want to pick up. Because, yeah, having a nice card is cool and all, right? You know, you spent $3,000 on that nice, shiny, cold foil from WTR Alpha. I don't know what WTR Alpha Cold Fulls are $3,000. Bracers are $1,000. Let's say you spend $1,500 on Brave Forge bracers, right? But you need money. You know, you're late on rent. Boom. That was I'm not going to say that buying the Brave Forge bracers was probably the bad choice, but you probably should have put that money towards rent before putting it into a $1,500 card. Right? I think you'd all agree with me, right? So keeping your budget in mind is one thing, but also keeping distractions in mind is another thing. Like someone like me, I'm very easily distracted by any shiny thing. In fact, the computer screen over here is, I left the mouse hovering over a YouTube video. So there is a Why It Sucks to Be Born as a Greenland Shark video playing silently on the screen, and it's distracting. I'm a very easily distracted person, okay? And when it comes to filling out collections, I have a bunch of collection goals for various sets across various card games, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, Pokemon, etc. And I find it's very easy to get distracted by new shiny things that I see in the market popping up all the time, rather than continuing to and trying to finish my collections from various card games. I find myself running into that problem all the time where, you know, I'm 4 cards away from a set, and then I'm like, oh, there's this nice new set that I should start on. And it's very difficult to resist the urge to get started on the new shiny thing, right? I'm very easily distracted when it comes to that. And, you know, just keep that in mind when you're going out and doing your collecting hobby. Don't get distracted. Don't do what Uncle Frank does and get easily distracted by the Greenland Shark video. The other thing to keep in mind is, as I said before, there are different kinds of hurdles when it comes to your collection. Something you should keep in mind at all times really is your budget. You know, there are really cool things at all levels of the financial bracket. You know, whether you're mega rich or mega poor, there's always going to be cool things that you'll be glad to have in your collection, regardless of where you end up on the wealth spectrum. And yeah, obviously, the more expensive stuff, it's going to feel more prestigious. It's going to be much nicer to hand off to someone down the road. You're going to get more money for it, in theory, down the road. But never forget that a lot of the collections right now that are worth tens of thousands of dollars, especially for Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, Magic, you know, the biggest collections that have been highly valued for a long time, they started off relatively cheap back in the day, with a nice small budget attached to them. And the same can still be said of card games that are new to the market now. You know, there is, I almost guarantee, almost guarantee that there are people right now who have a collection that is currently worth $20 to $50. A little binder that they will forget about in 6 months. They're going to throw it in a closet because it's for a card game they don't play anymore. And 5 years from now, at least a few cards in that collection are going to be worth way more than $20 to $50. I couldn't possibly predict what those cards are going to be. Probably some freaking universes beyond nonsense. But yeah, you know, time has a funny way of leaving your current state in the dust. So it's strange, really, when you think about what something is worth now, what you paid for it, and what it could potentially be worth in the future. And if you get caught up on just what it's worth now, you tend to lose out on a lot of the enjoyable aspects of the collecting hobby. So, you know, don't get disparaged if you only have $20 to $30 to spend a month, or even $15, $5, $1. If you only have so much cash and you still want to collect and you still want to enjoy your hobby, I guarantee, this I do guarantee, I guarantee that at any budget level, regardless of how small that budget is, there's going to be things you can work towards that are going to be enjoyable to collect and will be, in theory, just nice to have. Whether that's penny cards that just happen to look nice from an artist you appreciate, or whether it's several $1,000 Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship prize cards. There's something for everyone. And yeah. What I'm trying to say is here that I would really like to have some Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship prize cards. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below what kind of budget you think you'll have for your collection and what kind of goals you'd like to set for yourself. Me personally, I want to start getting into some more Japanese Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff so I can fill out. Actually, I have it over here. Got a binder around here somewhere. Where's it at? Nope. It's up here. Yeah, here it is. You got this bad boy. This is the Pharaoh's Servant set in Japan. I got no cards for this yet, but this is my next big collection goal. I just happened to come across this binder one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to fill that out. This is going to look great. Or at least I hope it will. I'll give you guys an update for this when I finally get around to filling it out. Ciao.